Let's talk about your home's heating and cooling system. You know, that thing that works silently in the background, right up until the moment it doesn't. When it fails, comfort turns to crisis, fast. So we're going to break down how these systems work, why they fail, and give you a clear-cut survival guide so you are never, ever caught off guard again.
I mean, this is the classic nightmare scenario for every single homeowner, right? Suddenly, your house is dangerously cold or just unbearably hot. In extreme weather, this isn't just some inconvenience. It's a full-blown emergency.
Well, what's the difference? It really all comes down to one thing: knowledge. Just understanding what's going on with your system, who you should call, and what to expect, that can make all the difference in the world. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into.
To really get to the bottom of this, we looked at how the pros handle these problems in a place like Minnesota, somewhere with some of the most brutal weather in the country. Believe me, their insights are basically a masterclass for homeowners anywhere and everywhere.
Okay, first things first, let's understand the battlefield. Because your HVAC system, it's in a constant war with the weather, and the amount of stress it's under is just immense.
Just think about that range for a second. We're talking a nearly 80-degree swing between seasons. That constant cycle of expansion and contraction puts an absolutely incredible strain on every single part of your heating and cooling equipment.
So what does all that stress actually do? Well, it causes very specific kinds of damage. That endless expanding and contracting, it cracks vital parts like heat exchangers. All the humidity and salt in the air corrode your outdoor AC unit. And get this, even the ground shifting from freeze-thaw cycles can damage critical gas and refrigerant lines. It is a full-scale assault on your system year after year.
So all that punishment has to take a toll somewhere, right? Let's look at the most common reasons these systems actually break down. Knowing what to look for can help you spot trouble before it becomes a catastrophe.
Now, this is one of the most serious problems you can have with your furnace. The easiest way to think about the heat exchanger is that it's kind of like the lung of your furnace. And after years and years of heating up and cooling down, that metal gets stressed, and eventually it can develop tiny little cracks.
And here's why that's so important. That little crack, it's basically a doorway for deadly invisible carbon monoxide to leak directly into your home's air supply. So this isn't just about the furnace breaking down, it's a major safety hazard that needs immediate attention.
Now, for your air conditioner, this is a real killer. The refrigerant is literally the lifeblood of the whole cooling process. If it starts leaking out because of corrosion or some damage, your AC will run and run and run, but the air coming out of your vents just won't get cold.
And here we have a classic wear and tear issue. The little parts that actually spark your furnace to life, well, they can only do it so many times before they just give out. And of course, this almost always seems to happen on the coldest night of the year, right when your system is working its absolute hardest.
Okay, so your system is down. You've got to call a pro. What should happen next? Understanding what a professional and trustworthy service call actually looks like is the key to making sure you get fair and honest work done.
A truly professional process should be this simple and this transparent. You explain what's wrong, they figure it out, and give you a firm price. And only after you approve it do they do the work and then prove to you that it's fixed. There should be no mystery and definitely no pressure.
So think of this as your personal checklist for a quality company. Upfront pricing is absolutely non-negotiable. Their technicians should be EPA-certified to handle chemicals like refrigerant, and you want to look for companies that stock their trucks so they can probably fix it on the first trip and who don't penalize you with extra fees just because you need help at night or on a weekend.
All right, now for the big one. The toughest question pretty much any homeowner is going to face. When you get a quote for a big repair, how in the world do you decide if it's worth fixing an old system or if it's just time to bite the bullet and invest in a new one?
Well, to cut through all that confusion, there's a really simple rule of thumb that a lot of pros use. It's a quick calculation that helps you make a logical, financial decision instead of an emotional one when you're in a panic.
And the formula itself, it's incredibly simple and really powerful. You just take the age of your system in years and multiply it by the quoted cost of the repair. That's it.
Okay, let's walk through a real-world example. Let's say your air conditioner is 12 years old, and you're told it needs a $500 repair. You multiply 12 by 500, and you get $6,000. Since that number is higher than $5,000, the rule suggests it's probably smarter to put that money toward a new system instead.
And this chart is why that age factor in the formula is so critical. As you can see, most systems just don't last much longer than 15 years, especially if you live in a place with harsh weather. So sinking a lot of money into a unit that's already near the end of its life, it's often just a bad investment.
Okay, finally, let's talk about the two things you absolutely have to know before any major work gets started: how much things cost and the safety rules that simply cannot be ignored.
This slide gives you a really solid ballpark idea. A simple repair might be a couple $100s, while a full replacement is obviously a major investment. But hey, don't overlook that annual maintenance number. $100 or $200 a year is the single best way to avoid those huge repair and replacement bills down the road.
And listen, this part is non-negotiable. These are not suggestions, they are requirements designed to protect you. Any new system requires a permit from your city. It has to be sized specifically for your home using proper calculations, not just a guess. And only certified pros can handle refrigerants. These rules make sure your system is both safe and efficient.
If you remember one single thing about safety, let it be this. If any contractor ever suggests skipping the permit process to save you a little money, that is a massive, gigantic red flag. A permit ensures a third-party inspector signs off that the work was done safely. Skipping it means they're cutting corners and putting your home and your family at risk, period.
So, after all this, the real question isn't just about what you do when your system breaks. It's about what you can do now to be prepared. Knowing its age, knowing its little quirks, and knowing the rules of the game, that's what puts you in control.